The video you're about to watch is validation that the Pennsylvania Game Commission has clearly failed the majority of Pennsylvania hunters. Confirming this contentious move is the Pennsylvania Game Commission's own Executive Director, Brian Burhans.
It's been interesting, this whole Saturday, Monday opener of anything I've ever dealt with in my career. It's been the most controversial thing that I've ever seen.
Commissioners, Director Burhan, fellow Pennsylvanians. My name is Clint Macro. I'm a resident of Plum Borough and the president of the Allegheny County Sportsman's League and a native of Cameron County. The ACSL has been fighting for liberty, conservation, wildlife, and our natural resources since 1921. First, I want to express the wish of the majority of the Allegheny County Sportsman's League members and respectfully urge this commission to return the opening day of rifle buck season to the traditional Monday following the weekend after Thanksgiving. Continuing with the Saturday opener shows a lack of sportsmanship and compassion for many families, hunters, business owners, and the citizens of Pennsylvania. The Saturday opener has proven to have a negative impact upon the people of Pennsylvania, resulting in less youth partaking in the opening day. Many school districts now no longer give the Monday off for deer season. Unnecessary stress on families as sportsmen transition from Thanksgiving holiday to deer season. Less Pennsylvanians going to their camps on opening weekend, and a devastating negative economic impact upon the communities of the northern tier. Greg Lippert, president of the Bethel Park Sportsman's Club, a member of the Allegheny County Sportsman's League, wrote me and said, quote, "The Saturday start is not only ruining the tradition, but it is decimating the small towns like Tionesta where our camp is," unquote. Greg is not unique in his opinion or his observation. The overwhelming sentiment from the ACSL clubs are that they want to return to the Monday opener. Some Pennsylvanians do prefer the Saturday opener. This is true. However, many that have expressed this to me would be very happy to go back to the Monday opener if there were 13 straight days of deer hunting to follow. As Sunday hunting is permitted in the Commonwealth, the 13 days following the Monday opener offers a solution that is the best of all worlds. It would restore time for Thanksgiving family traditions, provide more opportunities for youth to enjoy our proud Pennsylvania hunting heritage, and would give back the biggest money-making weekend for businesses and organizations in the communities of the northern tier.
There's solutions to this problem. If we look back at the data, we say we follow the science. What I passed out there, and it's been mentioned prior, the 2017 hunter survey that was done, 65% supported the staying with the Monday. That was around when this was done. But I think a key component to that is Mr. Schnupp identified out of that 65%, all the way down to age 26 was still 55% supporting the Monday. So this isn't an old man thing. This isn't a thing about old hunters. There was a strong support all the way down to age 26. That's important to remember. And as we go forward, I heard those meetings. I was upset as this other gentleman, comments of hunters that want to go to their camps and sit around and party, and camp hunters are boozers. That talk shouldn't have even been anywhere in the place of a commissioner. That's not something we should be addressing. We're not the social morality police because we come with what a guy does when he goes to his camp or doesn't do. That's not the issue here. The issue is what we've taken away. We've taken away so much from our traditions in Pennsylvania. We've hurt small businesses. Now, in that meeting, there were statements made by different commissioners. And I think Commissioner Mitrick, you made a comment at that time that there's no reasonable argument to stay with the Monday. And I think in itself that comment, based on that meeting, was somewhat truthful. But there was no mention of Thanksgiving, the biggest, and most traveled family holiday of the year. There was no mention of economic impacts that could result from this change, taking 2 out of the 3 days out of that weekend for small businesses in these small towns. There was no mention of our hunting heritage and traditions that have been in place for 60, 70 years with this opener. And this went on through a bunch of different reasons. I think Matt Schnupp even identified, there was a chuckle, I wouldn't give up my pheasant license for $1 million. Well, there's a concern with 3 Rs, taking away the Saturday, taking away the turkey day. Probably one of the most popular Saturday and small game days that are out there. So, and I find it interesting, Mary Jo Castellina was in the 2020, she testified, and she made a comment, Wednesday hunters, because she was trying to discern what we're going to do now since we took the turkey day out of that weekend. And she said Wednesday hunters were busy, obviously Thursday there was Thanksgiving, and then she went on to say Friday, half the hunters are going to be with their families on Black Friday, and the other half are going to be getting ready to go deer hunting and sighting their rifles. So, you know, inadvertently, she identified a problem that is the predominant problem today with many families. Now, when I said 25% of the hunters hunt from camps, 100% of the hunters have Thanksgiving. A lot of them have family visiting. A lot of them have tough trouble getting to where they have to go, or opening up a camp, or scouting, or when this was in place, that worked. And the thing here is I see the gentleman that brings his son up here. You know, the statement that there's a flat line license sales, I think you'll be able to see that's not accurate. And when you look at this kid, I would love to see that little boy hunt as much as he could. Tell me that if we couldn't put the Sundays in the next couple weekends, have 14-day continuous run, you have to go back to the legislature, get the one freed up. But as of right now, you can create weekend opportunity, but you can't put back what you've taken by moving the Monday. You can't put that back without bringing the Monday back. The traditions, the time, the Thanksgiving, the camp culture, everything was taken away. That could be reinstated. And that's the side of this thing. We don't have to look hard at, there is a solution here. We could bring all our hunters back together, provide weekend opportunity for the guys that maybe can't go Monday or can't get off Monday. But I think, you know, it's sad that I think you'd rather continue to proceed as right than help correct the problem. So I hope we can move forward with this and get this done. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Brian, you and I connected at the Reading meeting, and if you recollect at that meeting, I had mentioned to you that I had written and emailed 5 different occasions to you and each of the people representing us at this table. I told you that night that not one of you or he responded. You told me that night, along with 40 people in that meeting, that you respond to communication and that you value dialogue. Yet I wrote you another letter after that meeting thanking you for having the meeting and providing me the opportunity to speak there, and ask if you would forward my communication to you, to each of them. You quickly responded that you would. Yet I never heard from you or any of them regarding my concerns with the change from a Monday to a Saturday opener. Not one of you valued my communication to you enough to even respond with any dialogue. That frustrates me, and I'm sure it frustrates many in this room. You guys are appointed. You're not elected. And frankly, if you were elected, in my opinion, there isn't one of you that would be sitting here today. It is an offense to me and all the hunters of Pennsylvania that you ignore your own data. 2017, you did a survey that asked this question. In the WMU, where you hunted the most during the firearm season, I would prefer the regular firearm season to start on Circle 1. Saturday after Thanksgiving, Monday after Thanksgiving. And I'm sure each of you know the answers to that. 35% for Saturday, 65% for Monday. Yet you ignore it. You flat ignore all of us. And it's wrong. It is flat wrong. You can sit there stoically looking at me like, who are you? I am a hunter of Pennsylvania and have been since I was 12 years old. I have poured thousands of dollars into my property and properties around where I live and where I hunt in Clearfield County. I hunted with men for 35, 40 years that now are quitting hunting Pennsylvania because of your decisions and your lack of listening to us. I recognize that there are men and women here who want to hunt Saturday first. But the majority of us, and it is clear again and again and again, want the Monday returned. Yet you ignore our communication You ignore our request, and it's wrong. It's wrong that each of you does that, because you don't represent the majority of us. Continuing to do what you do. The losses have been represented here this morning. Financial. Grace Gun Shop in Clearfield, Pennsylvania is a very dear friend of mine. His loss alone for that weekend is between $250,000 and $300,000. That's not something to ignore, yet you do. It's wrong. And it will never be right, because the majority of the people that are speaking are asking for you to return the opener to Monday. Give them the 14-day stretch, 2 Sundays to hunt. It isn't really that hard, but yet you ignore each one of us. You have all ignored me. 7 times I have written to you. 7! And you ignored me every time.
The weekend before the Monday opener gave me true appreciation for the sport of hunting. I can't count how many times that my father reiterates to me, it has very little to do with the kill. I believe the Monday opener created more opportunities for me as I was learning to hunt to ensure that I did things the correct way. I could not imagine being a new hunter today having to succumb to the negative impacts of a Saturday opener. The change has caused a decrease in mentorship opportunities by causing hunters to rush into the woods rather than giving them chances to learn what hunting is all about, and that is sportsmanship, camaraderie, and harvesting an animal in an appropriate manner.
The Saturday opener is a terrible, terrible decision by you folks. How a group of adults can consistently come before us and tell us that it is a unanimous decision on that board that we go and change to the Saturday opener defies reason. One of you people has to be against the Saturday opener. One of you. And if there's not, then you're not representing us hunters in the state of Pennsylvania. I had a nun in my son's school tell him that he was not to be able to make up the 2 days of Monday and Tuesday. I went to that school and I told that nun that he was with his grandfather, his father, his brothers, his uncles, and his cousins for 2 days deer hunting, and those 2 days were worth more than a week in that school. And she agreed with me and changed the policy. Jim Daly, our commissioner who had to resign over this because he just didn't want to be a part of this anymore, even though it was his suggestion that we went to a Saturday. But he heard so much from the Monday people that he decided, you know what, they're right. He has been vilified by members of this committee or board, and the impact that the Saturday opener had on the majority of Pennsylvania deer hunters has proven negative for us. It's just terrible. You commissioners are supposed to represent us, and you have failed miserably. Some of you have called us camp owners drunkards, whiners, crybabies, etc. And you should all be ashamed of yourselves for letting one of you say that about us hunters in the state of Pennsylvania.
We've lived in Virginia now for 22 years. This is my 3rd opportunity to talk to you all, and commissioners, thank you for your time. My previous talks have been on the economic impact that this has had on businesses, and I know this firsthand because I owned a business on I-80 in DuBois for 15 years, from 1986 to 2001, and it was my busiest day of the year by far. No doubt about it, it's busy then, it was. This past year, this subject come up multiple times, deer season-wise, and I was coming out of the woods. There was a father, a son, a daughter, and an uncle. I stopped, asked them what was their preference, Saturday versus Monday. Quickly, they came back. They said Monday. We're from Norfolk, Virginia. We just can't get here. It's hard. Second, I came upon a father and a son, locals. I asked them, same question. They said Monday because my boy has athletic commitments on Saturday.
Again.
One evening I was down for a burger and a beer, and I was at one end of the bar. I heard the owner was talking to several other gentlemen at the other end of the bar, and he said how the Saturday opener has hurt his business. So I walked up, introduced myself, and told him that I'd been to several meetings, and the commission voted 9-0 both times. He looked at me and said, impossible. So I began to really think, how can that be possible? I don't think we could get 9 people in this room talk about anything and get a 9-0 vote. I can't recall the Supreme Court voting 9-0 on anything. If this is the case, why are 9 needed? We can reduce this. The solution is easy. It's a Monday opener with a continuous season. It's a simple, common sense approach. That's the answer.
However, the majority of hunters want to return to Monday. Monday opener gave us camp owners time to scout hunting areas, ensure the land had not been posted or became a safety zone because somebody built a house there. The Saturday opener caused the devastation of many northern businesses and the fire companies, churches, and charity drives that depended on that weekend to make money so they could operate. I have seen many surveys conducted over the past several years, and the majority prefer the Monday opener. I attended the January and April comment sessions last year. Both showed a majority of hunters want to go back to Monday. I attended 2 of the 3 town hall meetings, and support for Monday in the Erie meeting was 80%, Reading meeting was 100% for Monday. This shows the majority of sportsmen want the opening season back on Monday. How can the game commissioners continue to cater to the minority?
My name is Ed Clark, and I am actually a resident of the Shenandoah Valley of Virginia, but Pennsylvania is very much home to me, and has been for a long time. I've been coming to Pennsylvania to enjoy life in this great Commonwealth since I was a little boy, and as you can tell, that's been a long time. While I am here today as a private citizen, my real job, my real life is I'm the president and co-founder of the Wildlife Center of Virginia. We are the largest teaching and research hospital for wildlife medicine in the world. In fact, the veterinarian from whom you heard a little earlier did part of her training at our facility. But I mention these things to hopefully establish that I have a right to an opinion about what happens in this state that I love. Honestly, you've taken something very valuable from me in moving the opening day to Saturday. You've taken my opportunity to mentor the children of my friends. Now, in a political economy, when the government takes something from one group and gives it to another, we call it socialism. If the bumper stickers in the parking lot are any indication, that's not a real popular school of thought in this constituency. But I really want you to please consider re-examining this issue. This opportunity for mentoring for the family environment built my career for me. I've lived my life predicated on what I learned at not just hunting camp, but here in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That weekend is something that I've looked forward to since I was a little boy, and it's gone. Families don't come anymore. In any case, please consider restoring the Monday opener. Thank you.
Thank you, Ed.
You don't have to agree with them or whatever, but please say thank you for your letter. Respectful is another R word I think we need to be a little more aware of. I watched the meetings leading up to this change to the Saturday opener, and I was appalled, and I think no other word to say but appalled by some of the statements by some of the commissioners.
And speaking of tradition, the opening day of buck season was held on the Monday after Thanksgiving for more than 50 years, I guess 60 years, and nobody ever complained. 5 years ago, you destroyed that tradition by trying to fix something that wasn't broken. Now we have a problem. Since you created the problem, it seems to me you're the ones who should fix it. Just listen to your constituents. You heard them all here today. Do the right thing and restore our tradition. Thank you.
By moving the first day of gun season to Saturday, you have created a nightmare for our hardcore deer hunters in the state and their families and the small businesses. The Game Commission claimed that moving the opening day of buck season to Saturday with more youth involved in hunting. This is a big false pretense. 60% of the schools are already off in Pennsylvania. This was not a reasonable enough decision to move the first day of buck season to Saturday and make all these unnecessary disruptions. Let me explain why. I attended a meeting in Charleroi sponsored by Mr. Maloney, the Bureau of Tourism, to discuss the Saturday opener in February of 2020. Mr. Burns was president, Mr. Santucci was there. There was 80 people in the audience. 78 out of 80 people stood up and said, move it back to Monday. It's the mentored permit antlers, deer, and bear firearm season, a Thursday and Friday. So you're telling our youth, hey, skip school that Thursday and Friday to go deer hunt, or antlers, deer hunt, or bear hunt. But we don't want you missing school Monday when Monday was already off. Now, I'm not the smartest person in the room, but that's like a double standard to me. And just for the record, this youth antler season has been coming on a Thursday for 23 years. So for 23 years, you've been telling these kids, miss school for 2 days. But now you had your own personal agenda to move to Saturday because you wanted all these kids out hunting. What the stats don't lie, it's not working. This whole issue has been a total disaster and a public nightmare for the Game Commission. You've turned your back on camp owners, family tradition, and small businesses. Your refusal and arrogance to deal with this issue is as bad as Biden not dealing with the border. Do the right thing and move the first day of buck back to Monday.